Hello, everyone. I'm Lenny Martin, and I am with Joe Joselevich, and we are JLR, the one stop shop for fantasy and sports betting. In today's podcast, we will give you a few options for parlays using FanDuel Sportsbook, and we'll go over a 50-50 fantasy draft lineup. Joe, who do you like tonight on FanDuel? What kind of parlay you got?
Yeah, first of all, I want to say I'm still a little bit under the weather, so I apologize ahead of time if I sound a little cloudy. But we're looking at a 4-team parlay using four players here with some points, rebounds, and assists, and some other totals. We're going to start with Trae Young tonight, over 37 and a half points and assists. They're playing Washington, who's terrible. They're almost dead last in the league in defense. I look for a high-scoring game here because Atlanta's not a good defensive club either. Last time out, actually the last couple times, I'm just going to read it down here. Trae Young against Brooklyn. Now, granted, the game went to overtime, but he scored 28 points and had 14 assists. Before that, he played the Clippers. He had 38 points, 5 assists. Before that, we're looking at Minnesota. He had 43 points, 5 assists. Against Detroit, 38 points, 10 assists. And I even go back to another game against Minnesota where he had 20 and 13. He's getting incredible amount of minutes. I mean, the guy's almost playing the entire game every night. So 37 and a half points and assists against Washington, 37 and a half. I feel very comfortable in getting over that number with Trae Young. The second guy we're going to look at tonight is Aaron Gordon of the Orlando Magic. They got a matchup tonight against the Clippers. Now, this pick I was loving before I heard the news that Paul George and Kwame Leonard are going to play tonight, or they're scheduled to play anyway. They were questionable. So, but I mean, I'm still going to ride Gordon. Last time out, he had a really shitty game. They played Sacramento. Yeah, he played 26 minutes, only had 15 DraftKings points, which bolted a stat line here of 3 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. Before that, though, I mean, he was coming in, putting in really solid games. 34 minutes against Charlotte. He had 12, 11, and 7. Against Indiana, 17, 9, and 9. Before that, Minnesota, 13, 9, and 7. And then against the Knicks, he destroyed the Knicks. He had 18, 17, and 10 for a triple-double. I look for him to get back on track tonight. I mean, he's going to be running a little bit of point guard. You're going to get a little bit of everything. And they're going to have to, besides Vucevic, they're going to need a guy. And Fournier is playing good too, but they're going to need that secondary scoring. And I think Aaron Gordon gets back on track tonight and gets us over that 27 and a half points, rebounds, and assists. Third pick for tonight will be Nikola Jokic. The guy is just playing lights out. What can you say about Jokic? He's one of my favorite players, if not my favorite player in the NBA. So there is a bias here, but the numbers don't lie. 25 points, almost 12 rebounds, just a hair under 9 assists a game. He was averaging a triple-double for a while. He gets steals. And this is a complete player. He's better than Embiid. If you ask me who's the best center, I'm going to tell you Jokic. Embiid could score. He could rebound. Hell, he'll even throw you some blocks, but Jokic could do all that plus. Last time out, he played 34 minutes against Miami, resulted in 21, 11, and 3. I mean, Jokic, every time Jokic takes the floor, he's scoring 20 points. And he's almost backing it up with a double-double. And he's getting assists. So we have the alternate 34 and a half on Jokic tonight. Points, rebounds, and assists. And again, this is on FanDuel. So you have alternative for points, rebounds, and assists. 34 and a half. You're getting a guy who scored 20 points. If he gets 10, 11 rebounds and then funnels in a couple assists, you're at the mark. And I feel very comfortable with Jokic against the Spurs. I mean, who's going to guard him? There's nobody down low that can guard Jokic. And he's a guy who can shoot the three, too. So he has a perimeter game as well. So I love Jokic over the 34.5 marker for tonight. Finally, we're going to wrap things up with Andre Drummond. His mark is 31.5 for points and rebounds. Now, Drummond, the last time he played, he got a matchup with the Knicks tonight. Last time he played the Knicks, he destroyed him. He had 33 points, 23 rebounds, 3 assists. Now, if he gets half of that, we're going to be in good shape for tonight at 31.5. I don't think Mitchell Robinson is going to struggle trying to guard Drummond tonight. And I really like the matchup. And, I mean, Drummond last time out, the last game he played, he's averaging, let's go to his average first. He's almost 19 points, almost 15 boards a game. So just on average, we're getting there. And again, he's just playing lights out. So we're going to take Drummond tonight. And he's coming off games where he scored 23 points and 25 points on the last 2 games out, 16 and 17 rebounds respectively. Drummond is definitely a play for me tonight, over 31.5. What do you think, Vlad?
Yeah, that all sounds pretty good, Joe. You know what I mean? A lot of good matchups, a lot of good value during that time. And I believe, those guys would get the mark for that parlay.
No, absolutely.
All right. And then I'll move on to my parlay that I have in. I'll share my screen with everybody. And what I have for today is I took Malcolm Brogdon. I got him over 28.5 points, rebounds, and assists. And that's 2 as an alternate bet. And, he's been playing pretty good the last couple of games. Victor Oladipo ended up going to Houston, so he's going to have to play a bigger role. And Sabonis has been banged up a little bit. So I believe he could get that mark tonight. 28.5 is pretty low. Last couple games, the last 2 games, he just had 25 and 36 points. So he almost got the mark just on points alone. And the guy fills up the stat sheet with rebounds and assists. He's probably good for about 6 or 7 of each. So I believe 28.5 is a pretty good mark for him. The next guy I got is the Greek Freak. I got him over 38.5. I believe this is going to be a solid number, and that is points, rebounds, and assists. The last couple of games for him, he's been playing pretty well. I mean, back-to-back MVP. The guy is just MVP for a reason. He's been getting double-double numbers and adding the assist in there as well. He's only been shy away from a triple-double twice with 1 assist and 2 assists. So he's averaging about 8 assists per the last 2 games. So I can see him definitely getting to that 38.5 mark with all combined. And the next guy we have is Jokic. Joe, you talked about him before. He's a guy that does it all. And I got him with just alternate points and rebounds. And the last, I believe it is 7-8 games, he had a double-double, getting a lot of 20 and 10. So I took him at 27.5. I could see him definitely getting over that mark with points and rebounds. And, they're playing San Antonio tonight. And if he's guarded by Aldridge, I don't believe that's a good matchup for Aldridge. I think Jokic could definitely get this double-double again. And I think 27.5 is a pretty good mark. I ended up putting $20 on that bet to win $26.84. So it's a little bit better than doubling your money. Joe, how do you feel about that bet?
No, I like that bet a lot. You got Jokic at, what was it, 27.5?
Yeah, I took him at 27.5 just to be on the safe side. But I believe 27.5, like I said, 20, and I just picture him getting 20 and 10 at minimum. And then if he, only gets 8 rebounds instead and maybe only like 20 points, he'll still get that mark.
Absolutely. And it's the old adage, the stars have to shine. The stars have to come to play. And as long as they play tonight, I like that bet.
Awesome. And then I did a 5-team parlay as well. So I stuck with Brogdon, but I brought his number up a little bit. So he needs 30.5 points, rebounds, and assists. I also took Drummond, but with Drummond, I took the alternate points and rebounds, 28.5. And I mean, Joe talked about it before. The guy's been killing it, with rebounds, double figure points in the 20s. The last couple games, he's been averaging about 24 points and about 17 rebounds a game. So 28.5 is a pretty low number. That's another guy I looked at it like, okay, this guy could get 20 and 10. I leave some breathing room in between, but I definitely see him going over 28.5 points and rebounds. I took Kyrie Irving, alternate points, rebounds, and assists, 29.5. That was before Durant was out. Now they changed the line, I believe, to get minus 245. It would cost about 34.5 points, rebounds, and assists. So that might be up a little bit more, but I could still see him getting more numbers now Durant's out. We have Vucevic from Orlando Magic, 33.5 points and rebounds. That's another guy. I'm picking a lot of these guys that are putting up big numbers. He's also good for a solid 20 points and double figure rebounds. I definitely see him getting that mark tonight. I'm really riding the big guys, and they're playing the Clippers, who don't really have a true big. I know Ibaka's in there, but I don't see him giving him a problem. I mean, the last 3 games, Vucevic is probably averaging about 25 points a game and around that 10-11 mark. So 33.5, I definitely could see him reaching that mark. And last, I'm staying with Jokic, alternate points and rebounds. I just bumped him up a little bit for this one. It's 29.5. I put a $6 bet to win almost $50. I think these guys are all good plays, and we'll watch the games tonight and see how it goes. Joe, how do you feel about my second parlay?
Man, you got really lucky and lucked out on that number with Kyrie.
Yeah, I took him really early, and then I went in there to look at it again, and all the numbers were off the board. And I'm like, well, something must be happening here, So eventually it came back on. I looked at DraftKings, and it said Durant was out for the night. So I got lucky with that number. He should easily go over with Durant out, and that gave some extra value on that parlay.
Oh, no doubt about it. And I mean, Vucevic reminds me of Jokic in a lot of ways, and that's a solid play because for how good the Clippers are with George and Leonard. I mean, who they got? Ibaka and then Zubac, and I always said if Zubac got the minutes, I think he'd be a little better, but nobody wants to give him the minutes, so. But yeah, long story short, I like that a lot, and that should be a good bet.
Awesome. All right. Do you want to go over the 50-50 fantasy lineup? Maybe you could share your screen. We could go player by player and tell everybody what we like.
Absolutely. I can bring that up. Just give me a moment.
Awesome. I believe we played in the 50-50. We'll stick with the $10 buy-in. All you got to do is come into 50% of the top 23. So you got to finish in 10th. And you double your money. So we're going to just keep with that, stick with that lineup, and we're just going to break down who we like today.
Now, keep in mind, these are the 7:30 turbo games as well.
Yeah, this is the 7:30 slot only.
So this is 3 games. Len, I'll let you kick it off there. Go ahead. What do you got for me?
All right, I got Alexander Walker. I did see Lonzo Ball is questionable. And, if Lonzo Ball's out, I definitely feel comfortable with Alexander Walker. When he gets the minutes, as you can see, he gets about that 27 to 28 range, which would be a perfect amount for a guy that costs 4,200. I mean, if Lonzo Ball does play, we'll probably have to make a readjustment, but I feel comfortable with Walker in there as long as Ball's out. How do you feel about that?
No, I like it. You're getting value. I mean, you have a guy that's 4,200. He could be playing starter minutes, and he's kind of a chuck too. I feel like when he gets in there, so he's gonna shoot. He's not afraid to shoot the ball.
Oh
That's
yeah,
for sure.
he's going to go in there and he's going to, and he has some starter minutes under his belt, so he's not going in there nervous. He's going in there just like another day, so that really helps out.
Absolutely. We're going to move on here to the shooting guard position with Fred VanVleet at 7,500. You want to break this pick down?
Yeah, I mean, I always been a big fan of Fred VanVleet before he started putting up big numbers. I just like his mentality, the way he stepped on the court and played every game. But now he's getting a lot of minutes and he's producing a lot. I mean, he's usually good for 45 fantasy points about. And I mean, if you look at the game where he only had 33 and a half, the game was out of range, so he probably didn't play the last 5 minutes. But besides that game, I mean, he's good for points, he's good for rebounds, good for assists, and he's been actually getting a few blocks the last couple of games, which is pretty weird for a guy that's probably maybe 6'1" at best. So I see him for 7,500. You know what I mean? I think he's a good play tonight, and they got a good matchup against Sacramento, who's about 20th against the shooting guard, point guard position. How do you feel about that, Joe?
No, absolutely. This is a great pick, I feel like. VanVleet is a good pick tonight. The last 3 games is over 40 fantasy points, and he's going to shoot another guy who's going to shoot the ball. He will give you some assists per game. It looks like he's almost 2 assists, or steals. Almost 2 steals a game. He's almost at 7 assists if you want to go down there. But yeah, I mean, I like this play a lot, and yeah, we'll definitely ride Fred VanVleet tonight. And which should be a high scoring game. I mean, Sacramento is not good defensively. They're 30th in the league, giving up 120 points. So I liked it. I like it a lot.
All right. Next, we got the small forward position. We got Powell. We're going to stay in the same game. What I like about Powell is he's stepping into the starting lineup, playing about around that 39 to 40 minutes a game, and he's producing. With Onaboy questionable, and if he doesn't play, he's going to step into the starter role, and he is putting up numbers. As you can see, he's probably averaging around that 21 to 22 points a game. He'll give you a couple of rebounds, couple of assists here. And yet again, we like the matchup against Sacramento. They're 25th against the small forward position. So I think he has a lot of value at 6,200. Keep an eye on Onaboy if he plays or not. We still might keep him in the lineup because he's been showing so much value that, he still might start, and then they might bring Onaboy off the bench because, they're starting to roll a little bit, starting to get some wind under their belt.
Yeah, I'm 100%. Yeah, I'm 100% on board with that. You got a guy who's you got to ride the hot hand right now. And I mean, the guy's scoring 26 points, 24 points in the last 2 games. Guy looks like he can do it all. 5 rebounds, 6 rebounds. He's playing really good. I mean, you're going to have to ride the hot hand. Sacramento, again, we're back to the well. It's not a good defensive team. Look for points to be scored. And if this game shoots out, I mean, you definitely want multiple pieces of this game. So, yeah, I feel confident. Again, you got to see the ins and the outs, who's playing, who's not. But if Powell starts tonight and plays his normal, what is his normal workload, love it. It's a great play.
Awesome. So we're going to move to the power forward position. We have Akora from Cleveland. I mean, he doesn't put up a lot of fantasy points, but he gets a lot of minutes. If you look at his game time minutes, he's probably averaging over 30 minutes a game. Really not producing a lot of fantasy, but he's building some confidence. He just played against Detroit, played 37 minutes, got 25 fantasy points. So he might be riding the wave a little bit. And for 3,900, that gave us a chance to afford a lot more guys that we know are going to play good tonight. So if he could give us anything above 20, I think he's worth the value at 3,900. How do you feel about that, Joe?
I feel pretty good about that. You're getting a guy at 3,900 again. You need value. You got to hit your value. If he plays the minutes he has been playing, like starter minutes, 34, 37 minutes, if he can get you between that, anywhere from 20 to 25 fantasy points. That's all I can ask for. Anything after that is the bonus. But yeah, I mean, I like to play. Again, we need value. 3,900. The price is right, and yeah, we can roll with that definitely.
All right, then we'll look at the center position. We're taking Holmes from Sacramento. He's been playing really good as well. If you look at his minutes, he's playing a lot of minutes. And the last two games, I mean, wow, he's been getting 40 fantasy points. And the best part about that is he had a double double. You know what I mean? He ended up having double figure rebounds, and he's a guy that's he's a workhorse. He's not going to really fill up the stat sheet, but he's going to be a guy that you might not think is going to go off, but he'll have his little double double. And for 6,600 for center position, if he's going to put up around 35 to 40 fantasy points, I'll take him all night. How do you feel about that, Joe?
I actually like that a lot. And again, I apologize for I'm a little under the weather, so if it's coming in a little blurry. But yeah, I do like the pick. He's over 40 or at 40 fantasy points in his last two games. Going to see a paced up matchup tonight against Toronto. I think it's a back and forth game. Like I said, you definitely want multiple pieces of this game. And yeah, you got a guy that could, I mean, crack 40 points with a ceiling maybe for, near 50, depending on how the game goes. Yeah, we can definitely ride Rashawn Holmes tonight.
And you're going to see in our guard position, after we took a Cora at that forward position, we could afford the power forward position. We could afford Fox, you know what I mean, which is 8,500. And he's been playing good ball. He has the potential to get a triple double any night. He only missed it by a few rebounds, but he's a guy that's probably going to give you about 8 to 9 assists a game. He's going to give you about 20 points. And, he has potential to go off for like 60, 70 fantasy points, depending on how the flow of the game's going. And it looks like it's going to be a nice flow for him. I mean, Toronto's 28th in the league against point guards. They're struggling. And Darren Fox, he's a speedster, you know what I mean? So to try to keep up with him, it's going to be tough for Toronto's D. I can see him having a big night. And like I said, we could afford him. Joe, how do you feel about Fox tonight?
Fox? Yeah, I definitely all in on Darren Fox tonight. The guy who ceiling game looked like it was almost 80 points. It's going to be a shootout. I'm banking on this game being a shootout. So you want multiple pieces. Over 40 points the last three times out. That's realistic numbers. I mean, they had a ceiling game at before that against New Orleans at 77.5. But for a consistent, I mean, and again, this is a cash lineup, so you want to play a little chalk. 8,500. The price is right. I can't say the price is wrong. The price is right. So I like Darren Fox tonight. Absolutely.
All right, we're going to look at the forward position. We have Prince. He's been stepping in the starting role because Larry Nance is out. And, Prince is only 4,700. So if I see Larry Nance is sitting out tonight, Prince is definitely a great value. If you look at his last couple games, he has potential to go over 35 fantasy points. And, I think against the Knicks, who, they play a little bit defense here and there, but they take a lot of possessions off. I think Prince is a good value play at 4,700, where he could potentially have that 25 to even 35 point range. Joe, how do you feel about Prince?
I like Prince, especially if Nance is out. You have to watch the Nance news. But if Nance sits tonight, I definitely like Prince. I mean, last time out, 30 minutes, 37.3 fantasy points. He had 16 points to go along with 7 rebounds and 5 assists, and 25 minutes before that. So against the Lakers. So I definitely like the play. And again, it's the Knicks. See, the Knicks are a good team, though. The Knicks are actually a good defensive team. Let me take that back. They're a good defensive team. But I think, again, if he plays starter minutes and for the price is right. 100%.
Awesome. And then we'll go to the utility. And like I said, we take a couple small guys like Prince and Akora. We could afford Middleton. And if you look at Middleton's games, I mean, wow, the guy could put up points. And he's a guy that's like, wow, I didn't know that he was grabbing rebounds like that. I didn't know he was dropping dimes like that. So right now, I mean, he has potential to go off for a triple double. His last 3 games, he was like touching around that range. And you can see right there, he's putting up a lot of fantasy points. And I mean, they have a pretty good matchup against New Orleans. The coach came in there like, okay, we're going to be defensively, but they're not really showing it right now. I believe they're 22nd in the league against small forwards. So I really like Middleton tonight. And I mean, we could afford him at that price of 8,400. I'm going to take him every night. I'm hoping that he has about 45 to 50 fantasy points tonight. And, we'll see how the game flow goes. Joe, how do you feel about Middleton at the utility position?
It's a great pick. I think that Middleton, again, this is a guy that complements the Greek Freak very well. It's a good 1-2 punch. And this is a guy that could get you 50, to get you over 50 fantasy points a day in the last game against Toronto. He's a scoring threat. He can rebound the ball. He's just an overall good player. I mean, he does a little bit of everything. And against New Orleans, who's really not that great, but I mean, they got good talent. They got young talent, Brandon Ingram, Zion. We'll see if the game stays close. If it stays close, this is a smash play. If it blows out, how much could he score in maybe 3/4 of play? But I mean, I like it. I like the play. Hopefully, we can keep it close here. And yeah, I mean, we can ride Chris Middleton absolutely.
Awesome. So yeah, we put that in the $10 double up turbo, 7:30 games only. I mean, if we hit this tonight, we might put another one in later on, see if we could win back to back on one night, which is always nice. But Joe, you have any final comments for everybody?
Yeah, I got some final thoughts. First of all, just some updates. At some point this weekend, we're going to have a show to review the year in the NFL, what was, and make our predictions for the upcoming off season, as well as maybe some early, not too early predictions for next year. That'll be this weekend. We have some college basketball games tomorrow. We're definitely looking to get some content out for that. Maybe some parlays. We're about a week away from the Super Bowl and our Super Bowl show. We're going to have special guests. That's going to be a fun show. That's just going to be around the table, basically open table discussions. We're going to have our Super Bowl picks. We're going to have our player prop bets. We're going to have same game parlays. So there's going to be a lot of content there. But again, that's round table discussion, and that's going to be a fun show. So we have a lot coming up to be excited about, and it starts tonight, hopefully, with some winners.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And remember, everybody, we are JLR, the one-stop shop for fantasy and sports betting. Good luck in your bets tonight, and you guys have a good day.